Hey guys, before we get started, I have a couple little things I want to say. One, I'm sorry if you hear meowing in the background. It's the kitten. If you didn't know I had a kitten, watch the couple videos I'm posting before this one. If you hear whining, it's because the dog is in love with the kitten and wants to give her all the loves. If you hear music, it's my brother, and I'm sorry. Sorry for the background noises. Try to pay attention to me, because this is going to be a very informative video. Hopefully. The next thing I want to say is a disclaimer. This is not meant to offend anybody. This is a very sensitive subject. That's also why I wanted to cover it, because not many people are going to. So, creative content, unique content. Today, you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about different type of sacrifices. So, we're going to be talking about blood sacrifices, human sacrifices, animal sacrifices, and spiritual sacrifices. So 4 sacrifices that I'm going to cover today. I do want to give you history on all of them together, and then I'll get into how they're being used today. I'm petting the kitten. She's very into attention right now. Okay, so blood sacrifices, human sacrifices were widely practiced among many cultures a while back, especially in Aztec, Mayan, and Incan societies. It was also practiced in Olmecs, but Olmecs were pretty much the original, so they kind of trickled their influence down to the other ones, such as the Greeks did to the Romans and the Etruscans. Mayans often did bloodletting. Bloodletting is whenever they would puncture a soft muscle or tissue in the body and let the blood flow, such as the tongue, most often the tongue. They would also possibly do it from the ear. In cases of fertility and abundance and fertilization, they would use foreskin or labias. If you don't know what either of those are, you're probably too young to be watching this video. In these said societies as well, human sacrifices were used for different things depending on the status of the person. Oftentimes, to please the gods, they would sacrifice soldiers of war of high standards along with high-ranked women, because these were seen as the most worthy, you know? High-ranked women were often the most ugly women. Specifically, the Aztecs and the Mayans saw unattractive women as like the chosen ones, sort of. It's hard to explain. As we glorify beautiful women, they glorified ugly women. It's sort of the opposite. Because it was an honor to be sacrificed to the gods. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Spiritual sacrifices are most commonly seen in Buddhist and Christian religions. In Christianity, it would be equal with repenting. In Buddhism, it would be letting go of materialism. It's very spiritual and moral things that you give up. I don't really know how to cover that much more. What? Also, in some civilizations, slaves, servants, whatever you want to call them, were sacrificed in order for them to be in the afterlife for the master, so that even in death they will be serving that person. The type of sacrifices that are used among our type are spiritual and blood. Spiritually, we could devote ourselves to a deity. Spiritually, we could devote ourselves to a new way of living. Sometimes the sacrifices aren't always for a deity. Sometimes they're for the betterment of yourself. In the current witchcraft, bloodletting is also another popular form of sacrificing, as it makes your spells more powerful and more personalized. In some African cultures, animals such as bulls are sacrificed as a rite of passage, and young teenagers, specifically boys, are to either bathe in the blood or to drink the blood. Sometimes from the scrotum. Again, if you don't know that word, you shouldn't be watching this video, but you're supposed to drink the blood from the animal, probably a bull, as a rite of passage. So, sort of like getting your driver's license at 16 or 18, depending on where you live. It's like a step to signify your furtherment. Is that a word? Furtherment? Your progression in life. We're gonna use that word. In this day and age, in witchcraft, it's more humane to sacrifice an animal than it is a human, because if someone goes missing, you're more likely to be caught than you are for an animal. I don't know how I'm gonna get into this. Some people sacrifice young animals, such as this little baby, which I don't think is right. However, a more approved version of this is sacrificing insects. Personally, I have sacrificed an insect, well, an arachnid. I've sacrificed 2 live spiders and 2 spider egg sacs. But that was back when I would worship a deity. Now I do not do that. Now we're getting into the very sensitive subject of human sacrificing. It happens. It does happen. I have personally talked to a woman that was in a satanic cult. I'm not saying all Satanists do this, and by means they don't. I've talked to a woman that was in a satanic cult, and the reason that she left was because they sacrificed a newborn baby. She said she had been there for other sacrifices, such as young women, homeless people, that type of thing, you know, people that wouldn't be missed, and it was just seen to give the people that are sacrificing, the people hosting the sacrifice, giving them more power and more authority in the eyes of that deity. It's the offering to that deity to give them more things in return, and it happens. That's all I really want to say about that, because it's a very sensitive subject. I don't feel comfortable talking about it, because it's sad that it happens. It's sad that it happens to young animals, but I don't know, this is a harsh subject, and I don't want to say anything and upset anybody, but I'm upsetting myself by saying these things that I'm already saying. So if this upsets you, just know that it's upsetting me too. That's all I really want to cover. I hope you learned something. You probably already knew about the different types of sacrifices, but maybe you learned about the different civilizations and maybe the history behind sacrificing. I learned about a lot of this last year in AP Art History. The Africans too, I learned about that in Human Geography, about the rite of passage. I saw that. Very interesting. Again, I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm sorry if this upset you. I gave you a disclaimer that if you were sensitive to this kind of subject, you shouldn't have watched, and if you did watch, don't be mad at me. This video was not only a taboo talk, it was also a collab with my girl, the Hollie Witch, my girl, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and my girl, Storm Heathen. So, if you haven't already, subscribe to Hollie, subscribe to Jen, and subscribe to Ash. They're beautiful women and they put out beautiful content. We all did a video on a taboo subject in witchcraft. One did it on weed, another did it on menstruation, and I forgot what the other one was. Guess we're gonna have to find out in the description. I'll leave a link to all their videos down below if you're interested. Please watch. If you're not interested, please watch because their videos are really great. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like my content in general, subscribe. And as always, have a great day. What was I saying? You distract me, kitty. You distract me. Yes, you do. What are you doing? What are you doing? Meow. Oh. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? I would never sacrifice you. I would never sacrifice you. No. I love you.